Beers with Bands podcast with your host, Michael Torres. As you might have seen, I don't know if you listened to the Easy Beach or even the In a Daydream episode. But
those and then the Sea Home one too.
Oh, yep. I forgot about Sea Home. You guys got a nice little scene going on in the Detroit area. But basically, I have like a list of questions to kind of guide us through. At the end, we usually talk about some fun stories from your time in music. And tangents are cool. Anything that comes up, I want to make sure we get it covered.
Awesome. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Sweet. Can you hear me okay?
This is good? Yeah, you sound fine. Do I sound okay to you?
Perfect.
All right, sweet. All right, so what I'll do is I will crack this beer, do a little intro, and then bring you right in.
Awesome. Okay. All right.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Beers with Bands. This week, I'm sitting down with another Detroit rocker. Danny, how's it going?
It's going really well, Michael. Thank you so much for having me.
Dude, thanks for taking the time out of your day. I know you're at work tonight.
Yeah.
So this is pretty great. Hopefully they won't miss you too much for this little bit of time here.
Yeah, someone tells me they won't.
All right. Like I mentioned, Danny, you are a solo artist from the Detroit area, basically doing like kind of like indie rock, alternative rock, heavy like Springsteen style vibes, like that era of solid jams.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I mean, I feel like we should probably just jump right into things. You have obviously you got pushed back a little bit, but you do have a new record coming out on the 20th. Granted, this episode is being recorded in January, called "Music to Your Ears," and I've gotten to listen to like a glimpse of what's on this record, but I don't know if I'm fully prepared for what's on the rest of this record, dude.
Hell yeah.
Obviously, you have some singles out already. At the time of this, they're all on the band on Spotify. But like, what am I missing from this record that is not out there right now?
Well, I would say so. I've got about just under half of the songs on the album. It's an 11-song album. I think we've got 5 out as singles already, which just seemed like sort of a strategic move, I guess, when you're at like my level in the game, to just kind of try to keep drawing people in through doing slow single releases, build the fan base up or whatever. But in terms of the overall sound, I think the 5 I've got out do a pretty good display of like the overall spectrum of sound. There's a little bit of like alt country stuff kind of, and then there's some kind of like power pop, indie rock stuff. I feel like the big influences for me on this one, it was kind of a return to like some of my favorite artists, which would be like Guided by Voices, Pavement, a lot of 90s indie rock, but also like I grew up on my dad's record collection, which is like mostly like 70s singer-songwriters, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, Bruce Springsteen. So I feel like it's a lot of like me taking those classic rock influences, but sort of looking at them with like a wink of the eye, like sort of like not taking it too seriously, but still sort of celebrating that era of music.
Right. No, yeah, I felt like the 5 that I listened to that are out so far are super sick, and really you have like that super nice kind of blend between like kind of like you're mentioning, you have like that 90s alt rock, but then it kind of there's some like twanginess, like kind of like that alternative country in there, and they blend very well between the two. So it was a joy to listen to these 5 songs, and I'm stoked to see what's on the rest of this record when it comes on Friday.
Thank you so much. It means the world.
Yeah. Obviously, it was supposed to come out last week. Like, was there any? I think one of your posts said you're still like tweaking a couple things on the record, or like what's going on?
Yeah, just sort of wrapping the mixes up. We recorded the majority of the record fall of 2021, and then recorded. We cut like 10 songs then, and then or maybe like 12 or 13, and then in this year in the spring and summer we cut another maybe 5 or 6. And when I say we, it's myself and my producer Austin Stolozic, who you know from See Home and Shortly.
Okay.
And so that gave us like maybe like 18 or so to kind of pick from and chop away some of the fat, separate the wheat from the chaff. And it's just been sort of a matter here in this last couple of weeks of like getting the mixes really locked in and getting the track listing the exact way we want it. I can be I'm someone who needs deadlines. Like I will fuss with the order and like I'll like upload it to DistroKid and then like the next day be like, wait a minute, no, I want to change that. And then like, so I just sort of had to have it like pulled out of my hands, and for good though, I think. Like,
right. Yeah, no, I totally feel you on the whole deadlines thing. Like especially with like the podcast, like I try and have like everything for the next month already done at least 2 weeks in advance. And like we got like another week left of like January, and I still have like 2 episodes to finish editing. And like to myself, like if I don't give myself those deadlines, like I'll just like put it off and be like, oh shit, it's too late. What do I do?
Yeah, it's like I always thought when I was like younger making albums that like I needed deadlines because I wasn't like professional enough or like I've got like school or like I'm just like a regular ass dude. Like I'm not a professional musician necessarily, like with a label deal where like I have all this time and money to devote to it. So I always thought it was that. But then I've been realizing like it seems like even like artists who are at the top of the game with like all the resources available still seem to need deadline. Like it's just something we all kind of it's part of life. You're always going to think you can make it more perfect, but the perfection like doesn't really exist.
Right. And then you also have the moments where like obviously like you being a musician, if things just aren't coming to you and hitting you in the right moment, like that's going to push things further, because it's like this could be a decent song, but is it like what I want to put out type of deal?
So, totally. I feel like one thing I've been really stoked about with this one is that in the past, for the last 2 albums I've done, I spent like 3 to 4 years on them, and it was because I kept thinking like, oh, I'm gonna make it perfect, and like it's not worth putting out if I don't think it's perfect. But then you get to the end of that like 3 to 4 year cycle, and you're not even like that passionate about the songs anymore. Like your taste has changed, and you've heard them 5,000 times. And so I'm really glad this time, like Austin was very big on like, and this lined up with where I wanted to be too, was like, let's just get them done. Don't overthink them. There were times where I'd call them and be like, I think I want to like fuss with this. And they'd be like, no, we're not doing that, which I needed. And that's also been like an angle I wanted the album to have. I wanted it to sort of feel like not too I don't want to say not too labored over, because Austin did an incredible job with like the mastering and mixing and all the production details. But I did want it to feel a little more like off the cuff and loose and fun. And yeah, just not too like overly calculated, or rock and roll sometimes should just be fun and quick, and that's what's cool about it.
And I definitely see that coming through. I mean, not just from like the lyric title, like the song titles, like I mean, Wendy's in the Digital Age and that whole song, but like just overall listening to it, it doesn't feel like you're kind of going for like not overproduced and not over emphasized. It's just this is who I am. This is the song. It's gonna be fun, catchy, and you're just gonna fucking groove to it.
That's pretty much exactly what I was going for with it, because I just feel like I have a tendency to like turn on my own music, like to like put it out and then like 2 years later be like, I don't like that. And so it just seems like I feel like as I've been getting older, I've been learning that like maybe the best thing to do then is to just do it fast, put it out, and move on to the next thing, and just keep going.
Yeah, because like I mean, especially like you were saying earlier with all like the previous 2 projects where it took you that long, because really when you start getting the itch for those specific songs, that's the I think it was, we talked about it on one of my episodes, where basically it's like that's the timestamp of where you are in that in your life. So I mean, especially like working on those other projects for multiple years, like yeah, you're not going to be in that same headspace of like I whatever this song is about doesn't pertain to me anymore.
Yeah, like if we were doing this interview right now about songs I had been working on for 4 years, I just feel like I do feel like right now I'm in the same space I was when I wrote those, in terms of like what I want to do with music and where my taste is in this exact moment. And I feel like I can give you like honest answers. Whereas like if we were talking about stuff I did from 4 years ago, I don't even know if I'd be like happy about it, or I'd just be like selling you a version of myself from 4 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
I've always been jealous of the way I feel like in hip hop it happens more, where artists are able to like cut a song one night and then put it up the next day. I'd love to get to a place where I could even like start moving that fast if possible.
Yeah, like that's something I always think about every once in a while is just how fast like the top 40s like pop and like rap artists are able to just like quickly turn around a song for the most part, and just like how fast it can like hit the right waves and just like kind of just take off.
Yep,
Um,
100%.
I was thinking about like Post Malone when he did White Iverson. I mean that got dropped on SoundCloud, and then it seemed like overnight that thing just blew up, and then obviously he like re-recorded it before like the fully dropped mainstream wise, but still like I wish that same like algorithm would happen for like indie rock or like anything like in the DIY scene. It feels like when it comes to like pop punk and everyone else, like it takes so much longer to get to those steps where like they're able to just do it instantaneously.
Yeah, I feel like my guess would be that it has to do with like resources. Like, I mean, Post Malone, I guess at the time when he dropped that, he wasn't like he was probably still working a regular job. But I feel
Right.
like when you're in that like top 40 space, you're just so blessed to be able to like literally devote your whole existence to working on that music. And then you've got like a team of people who are living off you needing to do well with music, so everyone's sort of putting their focus in together. Whereas like me, I'm making pizzas right now and I have to get off the line to talk to you. Like it's that balance, I guess. Hopefully one day it'd be sweet to get to a point where I don't have to do the day job and can just kind of put everything into the music.
Right. And then you can go in there and then they can make your pizza like in everything. Full circle.
Exactly.
um no, but like I said, these songs are great that are out so far. One other thing you've done to kind of back this release is you've released a few different music videos that are really fun in general, and like they're fun, they're DIY, they're like nice and easy to go with, which kind of I feel like fits the whole motif of like the what we were talking about with this record of just being like not overproduced, just like we're gonna do this thing, just kind of put it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Um, like Wendy's in the Digital Age is basically just for people that haven't watched it. It's you in front of a green. Well, there's three different. There's like two different versions. Uh, the main version, that's the music video version, is just you in front of a green screen in front of all these places across the world, just playing your guitar and just having a good time, and then just yelling at people to get out of your shot, which was a funny little thing to add
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
And then you have I'm blanking on the name of the other music video.
Probably the night at the
Where
Rock and Roll History Museum one.
Yeah, I think that's the one where you guys are all just like around a campfire, just having a good time
Yep.
and playing
Yep.
outside.
Yep.
Like both simple concepts, but I feel like done very well in their respective outputs. If that makes any sense.
That's good to hear. Hell yeah.
Were any of those concepts like your idea, or I know like Chris, I think did the Night at the Rock Museum idea. It said,
Yeah, that one was his idea. And Chris has sort of handled a lot of the visual stuff for the album. He's such like a killer photographer and videographer, and just has like a great eye for visual composition and all that stuff. And that was his idea. He wrote that script. Um, and then the Wendy's one was directed by my friend Fadi, and we sort of came up with the idea together, which was just it was supposed to sort of be like the song's called Wendy's in the Digital Age, so it's about like different time periods, different eras, epochs, or whatever. And so I wanted it to sort of feel like a video game character who's like being dropped into different worlds, and there's sort of like a customizable character kind of thing. So it's me dressed in like different time period costumes, sort of too. There's like a Revolutionary War era, like colonial kind of look, and then there's like like a contemporary modern day in the suit. There's like an old Western cowboy outfit. So a lot of like Halloween costumes in front of mixed up time periods. So it'll be like me in front of like in the prehistoric era, in the like old Roman times, but then also like in the future and cyberspace, and like just sort of mixing up time and space and kind of making them collide in weird random ways, and then trying to be goofy on top of it.
right, yeah, I love that one. I mean, because like I said, it's nice, simple, and gets the kind of like the point across for everyone.
Yeah, that's I just wanted it to feel goofy and fun, but to all overall thing again with the album has been like to deal with sort of serious issues like the passage of time and like what that means and stuff, but do it in like a goofy way where it's not too like I'm a film student making my black and white movie that like thing, like trying to just keep it loose and goofy.
Right. Yeah. Um. Are we gonna? Can we expect to see any other music videos in the near futures with the other 6 songs on this record?
Yeah, I've got one more we're working on right now for Theme from the Stranger Zone, which is sort of going to be like a just like a bunch of quick cuts of like home footage of the band, us at practice, us at shows, just kind of chopped up really fast to kind of keep with the energy and the tempo of the song. And then I've got one more for a song called Mandy that I want to have Chris direct. And then the first song on the album, Beth is a Dasher, I want to for sure get a video for. I don't have an idea in mind yet. I don't have a director, but I know that that's one I really want to follow through on.
Okay, sweet. Well, hope that those ones come out well, and I'll be stoked to see them when they fully drop.
Oh yeah.
Um, Now, like I've kind of mentioned, there's only the 5 singles out so far. Leading up to this album release. But like, what's been like some of the responses that you've been seeing so far?
So far it's been good. I mean, it's tough with music because I feel like everyone's going to tell you they like it or whatever and it's good, and I know everyone necessarily doesn't. I've got a couple friends who are like longtime friends of mine who've been with me for the last like 15 years as I've been doing this, and they're pretty good about like if they don't like something, they'll tell me and it's cool. But for the most part, I feel like the response has been pretty positive. It's definitely gotten out there more than anything I've done in the past, which is good. I've been pushing it harder, so that feels good that it's that part's been paying off. I think I've had a couple of people tell me they really like the lyrics, which feels good because this was sort of the album where I do feel like for the first time I've found my lyrical voice that feels like me kind of the most. Like it fits like my personality and doesn't feel like me necessarily trying to be something I'm not or something, or
Mm,
try like I'm a pretty goofy, silly guy, and I wanted that to kind of come across like what I was just saying about like trying to like deal with heavy topics but do it in a way that's sort of still light and like welcomes you in and doesn't kind of push you away by being too serious.
right,
So the feedback on that's been nice. That's felt good.
dude. Hell yeah. Like, and then like that's awesome that you're getting good feedback, and then obviously, like I've mentioned a couple times, like your the record not only comes out this upcoming Friday, but you also have the record release show the
Yeah.
same day.
Yes.
Granted, like, what are you most stoked about for that? Because I mean, this is the first time that everyone's going to hear the majority of these songs probably all
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm excited for it. I think the thing I'm most excited for, weirdly, is we're doing one song from the last album, Sisyphus, and our keyboard player Randy is also a saxophone player, and he's ripping a solo on it at the end, which is cool. And he's gonna go through like he's going through like an auto tune pedal on the microphone too, so it's gonna have this cool like mix of like 21st century digital auto tune with like 20th century traditional saxophone, and there's like a harmonizer we can throw on it too, so it's gonna have this like weird cool different sound. I'm really excited for that. Yeah, excited to play 3 or 4 of them that we've really only played maybe like once at random clubs, and so it'll be cool to have like everyone together and to be able to play. I think we're playing, it's an 11-song album, we're playing 9 of the songs, so people are definitely going to get the vast majority of it. And the band's sounding hot. We got one more practice Thursday. Yeah, I'm feeling good about it. I thought I was going to be more nervous than I am, but the guys are sounding good, and that makes me feel good.
Dude, that's awesome. That's all you want. Hopefully it goes off without a hitch. I like we were kind of talking about towards the beginning is that Detroit scene. Obviously, I'm sitting down with you currently. I've sat down with Ian from In a Daydream, See Home, Easy Beach. Like you guys are all like killing it in your sounds, and like that whole scene is, I don't know, it's not one that a lot of people I feel like are talking about, and they should probably be talking about, like this little Detroit scene that you guys got going on, because it's killer.
Yeah, I feel like the main hub of it is the studio that everyone kind of collectively works at, Eureka Records in Wyandotte, where Austin's a producer, and then Tyler Floyd is a producer there too. And they do a series called Live from Eureka, like Eureka session videos, um, which Austin and Tyler handle the audio on, and then Chris does the video. And that was sort of how I first got introduced to them, and I was just kind of blown away at what a scene there was. I had sort of just been like, for the decade prior to that, making music just kind of on my own and not playing out a lot, and just sort of hoping that like friends and family on Facebook would listen to it, and that would somehow fucking get to the big leagues. And anyways, yeah, so I was kind of blown away when I met those two, Austin and Chris, and just seeing sort of like what Seaholm was doing, and how what a next level they're on. And then yeah, meeting Brian from In a Daydream, and now I'm playing with them, which is cool. That's fun to do. It's another outlet to just sort of play guitar, which is tight. But yeah, the scene, I'm stoked about it.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. I just realized since you brought that up, I was confusing Brian with Ian. It is Brian from In a Daydream, not Ian from In a Daydream. Ian
Yes.
is in Easy Beach.
But also kind of manages In a Daydream, so there is like a connection there too. Yeah, and he books for a lot of us too.
Okay, yeah, I just want to get that correct. That way, no one from Detroit, tries to, Jimmy Hoffa me or something like that.
Oh, Brian's gonna get you.
Yeah, I know.
It's
I'm
too
scared.
late. Yeah, you're gonna have to do some edits and cuts. He's coming at the nighttime. Yeah, he will dox you.
Oh God, let's not do that one.
Okay.
He'd be like, "Oh, you could have been my neighbor, but not no more."
Yeah, you're not exactly.
No, but like everything sounded great. Like I said, I'm really stoked to see what's coming next. That you got going on. Like, do you have any ideas as to like what the rest of 2023 is going to look like for you?
Yeah, in a couple weeks here in early February, I'm flying out to Portland to record with this guy Mo Troper, who I'm a fan of. He makes sort of like, he signed to Lamo Records, and he makes like kind of like very 90s indie rock sounding stuff, like similar to Guided by Voices and Daniel Johnston, but also like very Beatles influence. So I feel like he's got a similar Venn diagram of like classic rock, but also like noisy 90s indie rock stuff that I love. So I'm really excited to do that. I think we're going to try to cut an EP, but for now, at least just go out there and cut a few songs in a couple days and see what comes of it. And then later in the year, definitely, I mean, playing out shows the whole year, hopefully trying to push the album. And then I think Austin and I are going to be getting back in the studio maybe in the fall or like late summer, and doing a mix of, I'm hoping I'll have more originals by then to do, but I also want to do a full cover of this Neil Young album, Zuma. Just try to cover the whole thing in full. I've got a big affinity for artists who do that. Like that guy Mo Troper, he did a full Beatles album recreation.
Okay.
Todd Rundgren used to do that a lot in the studio. I just always thought it was a cool kind of like nerdy thing to do. Like that's your version of like making model cars. It's like, I'm just gonna try to recreate an album exactly the way it is. And it's like impossible to do, but it's just fun.
Right. And why that album specifically?
I think because it's an album where it's Neil and his band Crazy Horse just cutting it all live. There's like no overdubs. And so I thought, one, it'd be sort of fun and cheap to be able to like just have the band practice, get in there, and hopefully in like 2 or 3 studio dates, just cut it all live in the room. But then also, Neil Young's like my dad's favorite artist, and like, so I just feel like a connection there. I guess it's one of my favorite guitar albums too. Like if I think of like my 3 or 4 favorite albums in terms of guitar playing, Zuma is like such a huge influence on the way I play. So I feel like it's one that I can sort of do justice to. Um, and also just, I guess, if I'm being like open about like strategy or whatever, I feel like it's also to hopefully draw in like Neil Young fans. Like, I think you all as musicians, we always hope that, I mean, we want an audience of any kind, but I think we all secretly hope that the people who like our music like the same music we like. Like I would love it if every person who likes my music has the exact same taste in music as me. I know that's impossible. But so I'm hoping like maybe if I do that, I can bring in some Neil Young fans who might not know me, if there's a way to kind of pull them into my stratosphere.
Yeah, no, that's a cool idea to do, and I'll like everything else. I'm gonna be stoked to hear how that fully comes out. Um, and it's crazy that like they did that all kind of more just live session stuff where
Yeah.
like nothing's overdubbed or anything like that. So, I mean, no pressure, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think, and also, I mean, another reason is just I've found that like the days I'm in the studio working, or when I leave there and drive home, I feel like those are the days I feel like the most like me and like the happiest and stuff. So it's also just like, if I don't have the written material, I still want to be able to go in there and just have fun with the band and with Austin. And it's just like, I feel like I'm getting more into that thing of like music just as an excuse to like be with my friends and do stuff that we love to do and not like fret too much about what comes of it or whatever.
Right, the way it should be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's dope. I'm trying to think of, is there anything I'm missing with this album or like with you in general that you really want the people to know about? With the time frame, like I'm like it's thrown off my mind, so like I'm making sure I'm not missing anything. Uh, with what you got going on. So is there anything that we might not have covered that you want to talk about?
Um, I think if I can just make like a pitch to listen to the album, it would be, because that's like the only thing I guess that's on my mind right now is just trying to get people to open that Spotify link or Apple Music or whatever and dive in and listen to it. If I can make a pitch, it would just be like the overall theory I wanted to have for this thing is to have something, is to have an album where it's a mix of serious stuff, but also lighthearted, funny stuff. I've just noticed that like my favorite movies, my favorite serious movies are still goofy and funny, and that's what makes them three-dimensional and good. And then also some of my favorite funny movies are also like some tear jerkers. Sometimes they've got like a serious thing at the heart of it. So with this album, I really feel like I've gotten to a good spot of getting that blend in. It's a lot of stuff about my mom passed a couple years ago, and so it's sort of like I feel like that's been a real. If there's a serious heart to the album, it's that, and the fact that like the times I feel closest to my mom still are when I listen to music from her time period, like classic rock generation stuff that I was raised on with my mom and my dad, just kind of driving around as a kid. So I just wanted to, those artists are dying and stuff. And as they kind of die off, it just reminds me that like my parents are going to go. My mom already went. My dad's going to go at some point. So it's just trying to like celebrate that music, but also question like where is that music today? And like, what does it mean? And like, we all kind of know that like rock and roll isn't the big style of music anymore, but that shouldn't matter. And like, yeah, just having fun with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you heard it here from Danny himself. Everyone go listen to this record when it drops. Well, at the time of this episode comes out, it's already going to be out. So click the links that we'll talk about here in a little bit and go find this record. Go jam it a million times and just
a billion times.
Billion times.
Yeah.
1 trillion times.
Exactly. Little Dr. Evil.
All right. So as we kind of transition, obviously this is Beers with Bands. You're at work, so I know you're not partaking in any alcohol beverages. You're having a good old tea. So I figured I'd throw a curveball question at you. Obviously, you have the song Wendy's in the Digital Age. So I have to ask, what's your go-to Wendy's order?
I would say I'm riding that value menu when I'm at Wendy's. I'm probably doing 2 junior bacon cheeseburgers, a fry, and a Diet Coke, I would say, is my go-to.
That's a solid haul.
But truth be told, I'm a Taco Bell man at heart. It's about that chicken quesadilla, that number 7 for me. That's where my real heart lies.
Okay. See, if I'm going to Taco Bell, I'm usually forgive me, Taco Bell. I don't remember the number for my order, but it's it's the double chalupa with the hard shell taco meal.
Ooh, good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Got to show some love to the cheesy gordita crunch too.
Ooh.
That thing's perfect.
One thing I still need to do, I don't know if you saw it in the news, like I think it would have been like 4 months ago or something like that. They opened like the double 2-story like Taco Bell here in Minnesota, where like you'll have to look this up. I'll have to send you like a link or something. But basically, like it's all kind of drive-through automated, and then like they have like this giant tray that comes down through the drive-through that'll have your order on it already. This thing's like massive.
Wait, it's all automated?
Well, like everyone works upstairs, so like they have like the pull through lanes for like mobile orders, but then they also, I think you can still order there, but it's like a 2-story building that doesn't look like a Taco Bell. Like it's very like futuristic kind of looking. So I'll have to find a link and send it to you.
That's crazy you bring that up, because like honestly, fast food architecture was such like a big influence for the songs. Like it always weirded me out that like Wendy's now look like mid 20th century modern buildings. You know what I mean? They've got like this like very Frank Lloyd Wright, Le Corbusier style design, and it's just like, it's so weird to me now that like fast food restaurants want to have this like tasteful, like young urban professional fucking like look to them. And it's just yeah, it's a weird world. It's like I miss the Taco Bells I grew up with.
Yeah, the '90s version of Taco Bell's where they had like the swirly colors everywhere.
Yep,
and
the fake Jean-Michel Basquiat paintings on the wall and stuff. That was my scene right there.
Yeah,
and now
those ones were like peak.
They look like banks now. They all like everything's gotten. They're all becoming really homogenous. Like they have no color to them. Like it's, I don't know. It's weird. Yeah.
Well, anyone that works or owns like a fast food place, switch it back up. Let's
exactly.
Vinyl's coming back, tapes are coming back. Bring back the '90s feel of all these fast food restaurants. Well, there was our little like food beer segment. So now we're gonna kind of transition to the later half of these episodes, which is always my favorite part of the episodes and the reason that these episodes even exist. This is where I kind of hear some fun stories from your time in music, whether it's time recording, obviously shooting music videos, tours, or playing shows. As I normally say, it can be anything horrendous to tremendous or any adjective in between.
Boy, I feel like the horrendous stuff is probably funnier, better content. I'm trying to think of what the worst of the worst has ever been. I feel like I blocked it out. My brain's done a good job of trying to kind of close that trauma off from my consciousness.
That's fair.
Tremendous. I mean, I think the most fun, I can say that the most fun show I've had was in the last year. We played this art gallery called Armageddon Beach Party Lounge in Detroit, kind of by Wayne State Campus. And it was a 6-piece lineup. We're normally a 5-piece lineup. So we had Austin playing with us as an extra person. And it was the stage is like built to hold maybe like 3 people max on a band. And so we had this like staggered thing where it was like 3 levels of us playing. It was like me and my other guitarist Andrew on the main ground, like even level with the crowd. And then we had behind us Austin and George, and then behind them, I think there's like a small riser there. It was Chris on drums, and then Randy, our keyboardist, who has this like giant 3-keyboard rig. We're all kind of smashed into one little like 10-foot by 10-foot space, and it was really chaotic. But I think the set went well, and I feel like those are always the most fun ones where it feels like shit could go off the rails at any moment, but you keep it in line. So that was cool. I wish I could come up with something horrendous. I mean, like we had one bad show last year at Bolero, this bowling alley in Royal Oak. But there's nothing like funny about it. It was just sort of boringly bad. Like I just, you know what I mean? It was like I wish, in retrospect, I should have like as soon as I realized it wasn't going well, I should have just like dove full into that, and at least then I would have had like a funny story to come away with. But just boring in my badness.
Okay, well, let me throw out a couple prompts and see if you got anything that triggers them.
Yeah.
What's been like the sketchiest show you think you've ever played?
We were supposed to play once at this venue called the High Dive. It's a bar in Hamtramck, and we got there and they didn't have a microphone. And I feel like it's pretty standard for the venue to provide microphones.
Yeah.
They were traditionally, I guess, like a DJ kind of place. And when we got there, we told the bartender we were performing that night. He was like, "Oh, okay." He like was unaware we were gonna play, and then he said this sentence that I always thought was funny. He said, "Yeah, I'm more into like DJ kind of stuff, but like I have a ton of respect for band culture." And I was like, "That's a phrase I've never heard before." And like it makes like being in bands sound like it's this like weird, outdated like thing from the past, like band
Right.
culture. So I would say we ended up just not even playing there. We went across the street. There was an open mic at this other place. So we just played acoustically there instead. It just seemed like, fuck it, why even bother? Like with to set up our own microphones and stuff. Like this is stupid.
Yeah,
So I
that
would say
sounds
probably
like
now.
that's like having to deal with that feels more like it would have been like, oh, we were playing someone's basement, they just didn't have a PA.
Yeah.
Type of deal.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. It's definitely like 3 years ago. But it was just like, good God, why would you book us? Yeah.
Jeez. How about what do you think is in all this time that you've been doing music as your solo project? What do you think has been like the biggest moment or like the one highlight that you always think about?
Oh, that's a good question. It's in if I can go like macro with it, where it's not so much like one moment. In this last year and a half, I really feel like I've gotten like an infrastructure built. In fact, I've got one moment I can tie it to. I had a song I wrote maybe like 5 or 6 months ago that was just real. Like I had the smallest possible kernel you could have for a song, where like normally it would just be not worth exploring. But I've been lucky enough to feel like I've built out this infrastructure with both the band. I've got the band the most coordinated I've ever had for a band. And then also working with Austin, we just got to like a space where we really can move fast. And I was able to bring just that one little kernel in to the studio and the practice space. And within a week we had, the light went off in here. 1 second. Sorry about this, Michael. This is my sketchiest moment now right here.
Right.
But I was able to bring it into the studio in the practice space, and within like a day in both, we had the song like fully ready, recorded, and like ready to play out live. And so it just felt good to be able to like have such an infrastructure where I can take something so small and incomplete and have it fully developed in like 2 days. That really just felt like I finally have like people around me, and it's like people who want this stuff to like move. I don't know, it just felt good.
Yeah, you have that you finally have like that nice cohesive like team around you that's like, okay, not only can I have my vision, but they see my vision and they know where to take this and help me get it to that spot. Like that's very big. To have that.
Exactly. Yeah, it felt like it really opened up a door where like I can just be as lazy as I want to now. I can just come in with 2 chords and maybe like a lyric and let those fuckers finish it off for me.
Right.
Yeah.
At any of this time when you were doing, since you've been doing your solo project, did you ever have like a moment where it kind of took you a little while to like let people in to like help out doing anything?
I mean, I still sort of do, because music being so subjective and weirdly personal, you're always making trade-offs where it's like, I want to be able to have people who are better and more skilled than me at certain parts of the craft come in and improve it. But then you also, I don't want to boss everyone around and like tell everyone exactly what to do. So, I mean, even now, I do feel like to some degree, it's never exactly like 100% just my vision. I'm bringing other people in and letting them work with it. But I've also, like I was saying at the beginning of this, where it's like I tend to like put something out and then 2 years later feel differently about it. I also feel good about the fact that I'm not fully in control, because that's like me 2 years from now isn't the same me as me now. So why die on the hill for like the smallest details right now, when it's better to just have like something that the whole team can be excited about and feel like we all put our all into this as like a family. And yeah, it's just trying to like kind of keep it democratic.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what you want to do. Like, I've talked to a couple other people that kind of do like their own like solo artist stuff, and they obviously have people come in and like fill in or like help with stuff. But you know, it's a big thing to kind of overcome that whole like, no, this is my idea. Like, I want you to do it this way, and be able to realize like, oh no, like it's still going to be my way, but like these people are coming in and they can kind of see and kind of help or like add something to it to make it something that you weren't anticipating.
Yeah, I think it's something that like no one ever fully gets to the end of, because like, yeah, my like, because like where I start with the album a year and a half later, I might have a different view on like how it should be. And it's just like we're all always slowly changing. Our tastes are always kind of morphing, and they're never stuck in one place. And so I think the more people you can bring in who you trust, it's like, why fret over all those details eternally? There's not one you, there's a ton of yous over time. So like it's never gonna like, you're always changing, and the music is gonna have to change with you if you want it to be like exactly your vision perfect. And I think like it's cool that art isn't that, you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes
Yeah.
sense, but like
I see
realize,
what you're getting at, yeah.
yeah, cool.
Um but yeah, so it's great that you have that team and you're able to, have those moments, and hopefully it continues to grow with those moments, and like it just keeps going further and further, and you get to bring out your full you and vision to everything else that you're trying to do.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's the goal here.
But I mean, so as we kind of wind down here, Danny, I just want to say like thank you for reaching out and like wanting to be a part of an episode. I know we have a lot of mutual friends from your scene that have been doing these, and also shout out to your work for letting you take some time away to do this. I want to give them a quick shout out. Where do you work at? And like, uh, and
It's
obviously we mentioned it's a pizza spot, but like, is it the
yeah,
best? What's good about this pizza spot?
it's Moot's Pizzeria. It's right in downtown Detroit. We do New York pizza. They're really big on it. It's not New York style. This is New York pizza. Like, yeah, I think I will say straight up, I think it's the best, if not tied for the best pizza in the city of Detroit. I've been here for like 4 years now, and I still eat the shit every day. So that should mean something.
Yeah. Well, shout out to them for letting you take the time, and like I'm stoked that this record is coming out. Hopefully Friday goes well. I'm sure it'll be nuts and crazy, and make sure you just enjoy the moment, and are there for it, because I know those moments you can kind of just like fucking glaze out and just kind of just go with the flow.
Yeah, no, 100%. I hope I can be there for it for real.
If anyone's looking for you, your merch, or your music, where can they find it?
The music's on all the streaming platforms. If you're looking for merch, I think your best bet is probably just to follow me on like Instagram. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Danny Vanzandt Music. Yeah, and just shoot me a DM if there's something you want, or if you just want to talk music, whatever.
Hell yeah. Well, depending on where you found this episode, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or even YouTube now. Make sure you hit those hyperlinks. Go follow Danny on all his socials and stay up to date. Be ready for everything else that he has coming out in 2023 and beyond. And just go jam this new record like a trillion billion times.
Yes, a trillion billion times. Exactly. Stream it a billion times, a trillion times over.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, one last big thank you to Danny for stopping by the podcast. And, other than that, have a good rest of your shift and, keep slinging those Oz.
Thank you so much, Michael, for having me. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I'll catch everyone on the next episode.
Sounds good, brother. Cheers.